Okay.
All right, so we got our technical difficulties figured out, but we're going to still hold that 6:05 and give a couple more minutes for our board member who is looking for a parking place, right?
Just send me a cover of text.
We ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and call this regularly scheduled Planning and Zoning Board of Monday, December 4th to order. I have no amendments or changes to the published agenda, so I'd like to start with an approval. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion from Naeem. Second from Donald. Any comments or questions on the motion on the floor to approve the agenda as it was published from the board?
No.
Any public comments or questions on the motion on the floor to approve the agenda? Seeing none, I do want to notice the absence of board member Polo. She was not able to join us tonight, so we'll be a four-person board. Anybody tonight just needs to take that into consideration. With that being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Could we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as it was published?
So moved.
I have a motion from Naeem.
Second.
Second from Jordan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. That brings us to our first item under public hearings and ordinances. This is a quasi-judicial, so I'm going to have to go ahead and read this procedure. This is a request for site development plan approval for construction of the City of Newberry wastewater treatment facility and related site improvements on a site consisting of 195.73 acres. We are entering a quasi-judicial procedure. This means that the board will stop being a legislative body and will become a judicial board. That means we have to follow certain rules and adhere to a different standard of decision-making. The primary rule must follow concerns testimony, and the substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the judicial board makes a decision. This standard states the following, and I quote, all public testimony taken under oath, everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. The giving of opinion testimony is limited to experts, and closing arguments will be limited to evidence of record. I'm going to ask the attorney now to read into the record Resolution 2023-62/SDP2308, please.
This is Resolution 2023-62 SDP 23-08, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida, serving as the Board of Adjustment of the City of Newberry, Florida, approving an application for site and development plan approval for a wastewater treatment facility in a public facilities PF zoning district pursuant to Section 14.12 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations, generally located on the east side of County Road 337 Southwest 266th Street between Southwest 18th Road and Southwest 30th Avenue, portion of parcel numbers 02538-009-001, 02538-008-000, 02538-007-000, 02538 010-000, on approximately 195.73 acres within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida, repealing resolutions in conflict and providing an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. If you're here to speak to this agenda item, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and stand so the city attorney can swear you in, applicants and staff, anybody who wants to participate. Madam Attorney?
Do you all swear or affirm that the testimony you're going to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Would you say your name for the record, sir? I think Missy's got everybody else.
Robert Wumpel, CHW.
Thank you, sir. Okay, before we begin, I'm going to ask the board to disclose any ex parte communications and disclose whether any member physically inspected the property. Remember that ex parte communications are any conversations or transmission of information that may have bearing or influence on any voting member's decision. Jordan?
I have none.
Ms. Kathy? Donald?
No.
Naeem?
None.
I'm a non-voting chair, but I have nothing to communicate either. I'm now going to explain the order of presentations we're going to follow for every quasi-judicial item for us tonight. We only have the one. First, we will hear staff's overview, then the applicant can make their presentation with no time limit. In this case, I think we are the applicant, so we're going to move right into our recommendation and report. Nobody has contacted me wishing to claim a third-party intervener status. That's going to move us to public comment. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this item, I have 3 minutes to do so. Then we'll hear cross-examinations, and members of the decision-making body, through the chair, can ask questions of the staff, applicant, or any of the participants. Then we'll hear final arguments. Then the city attorney will advise the decision-making bodies applicable law and factual findings that must be made to approve or deny the applications. Then we'll enter into deliberations. After deliberations, I'll entertain a motion to approve, deny, or approve with conditions. That's the order we'll follow. Staff, go ahead and come up and give us the overview and slide right into that report and recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Board and Mayor. I'm Uma Sarvishta, Planning and Economic Development. Here I'm presenting Resolution 2023-62 SDP 2308, Site and Development Plan Approval for Wastewater Treatment Plant Expansion. This is the general location. It is the parcel 02538-009-001, 02538-008-000, 02538-007-000, 02538-010-000, 02538-005-000. This is approximately 195.73 acres. Agent is CHW Professional Consultant. The petition is by City of Newberry. This is the general location. Site is generally located at the east side of County Road 337/Southwest 266th Street between Southwest 18th Road and Southwest 30th Avenue. This is the aerial view of the site, and one more property location and how big it is. So the present petition is for the wastewater treatment expansion and related site development. At present, there is just it is just for the expansion of the wastewater treatment and to provide the access road from 337 for the overall property. Applicant is here for any question. I would go ahead and go to this site plan, and I think for this I will defer it to Jamie to explain if he has some extra point in there. Okay, so should I go ahead?
Everybody trusts you.
They just let you take it over every single time, so just run it.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the location map and the site plan of the development as the picture shows, which is like really small right now. But basically everything is on the upside up there, but on the property is abutting 337, and that will be abutting the 337. That will be the future public work facility and the compost unit facility. For those, application will be coming later. Right now, there is just the application for the providing the access road and the facility to expand from 3 plants to more, because we are going to have more demand for the wastewater in the future. So recommendation to the Board of Adjustment for approval of 2023-62 SDP 2308. If approved, the petition will be heard by the Board of Adjustment on December 11, 2023. And that finished my findings. If you have any question, I'm here for any questions, and applicant is here too, so.
Thank you, ma'am. Did y'all have a presentation too? Okay. Anybody from the public here speak to this agenda item tonight? Seeing none, we're going to skip cross-examinations. Did you have any questions to the board? Do you have any questions for staff? We kind of need this one to happen. We want those toilets to keep working. Jordan?
I have a question. It's just from my own, because I don't know what I don't know. Did we previously own this, or did we condemn this for the wastewater, or was this already the city's land? Sorry, I didn't mean to make you.
No, he stayed here all night just to have the chance to walk up.
Jamie Jones, Utilities and Public Works. We actually purchased the 93 acres on the west side. We already owned the portion where the existing wastewater plant was. Any other questions?
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, and that's going to take us, Ms. Uman, you need to make a final argument? You don't have to. All right. Madam Attorney, would you please advise decision-making bodies applicable all factual findings must be met?
You must find competent substantial evidence to approve this application.
Thank you. Perfectly stated. All right, we'll enter into deliberations. If there are no deliberations, I'll have a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion from Jordan, second from Naeem. Any comments, questions on the board on the motion on the floor? Public comments, questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. We're one step closer to having that infrastructure that everybody's talking about, right? All right, that's going to take us out of quasi-judicial, back to legislative. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Item 3 is a request for a text amendment to the future land use element of the City of Newberry Comprehensive Plan as amended, creating a specific location sub-element for the project known as NC Ranch Plan Development. Madam Attorney, would you please read into the record, as Jean Paul makes his way here, ordinance 2023-36/CPA 23-12, please.
This is ordinance number 2023-36, CPA 2312, an ordinance of the City of Newberry, Florida, amending ordinance number 4-91 as amended relating to a text amendment to the future land use element of the City of Newberry Comprehensive Plan under the expedited amendment procedures established in sections 163, 3182, 31842, and 3 Florida statutes, and in conformance with sections 163, 3161 through 163, 3215 Florida statutes, providing for a specific location sub-element for a project known as NC Ranch Plan Development on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Jean Paul, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. John Paul Perez, Planning and Economic Development Department. I am presenting to you tonight a text amendment related to the project known as NC Ranch Plan Development, also known as the Ranch. This is a land use map amendment and a zoning change that came before the board on October 25th. This is a companion text amendment to those requests. This text amendment provides a specific location, sub-element, as well as some minor changes to the text for planning horizon. I'm going to go through some overview first, just to educate the audience. And then we'll get into the request, present the findings, recommended motion, and then I will be available and the applicant's available for any questions. Both the applicant agents are available today, including their counsel and design team, as well as the owner, to answer any questions you may have. So the NC Ranch Plan Development has 3 petitions in with the City of Newberry currently. The 2 petitions that were already heard are the land use and the rezoning. As stated, this text amendment is in support of the future land use map amendment. The text amendment is intended to extend the planning horizon generally. This is a change that we had already accounted for in the comprehensive plan overhaul for the urban service area. It's currently stated as a 10-year planning horizon, and we're just making it on a per project basis, not to cap it at 10. We, just for your edification, we do have development agreements which do extend sometimes 20, 30 years for infrastructure improvements, and so there was a conflict there. Something that we had already planned on changing was to allow for more project-specific planning horizon, as some are larger than others. This happens to be the larger one for the city, and so we're just accounting for that. Just a brief timeline. October 25th, land use and zoning were recommended approval by the Planning and Zoning Board to the Commission. Today, this body is hearing the text amendment, which is a companion item to that land use map amendment. On December 12th, there will be a special meeting for the first reading of the land use map amendment and the text amendment. The rezoning will not be going to that hearing. Attached to the rezoning is the development order. That development order contains the conditions and other guardrails for development of the project that will be enumerated in the development order. We are still working through that conversation, so we will bring that to the board when it's ready. And yeah, that takes us to interim, and then we're hoping, if everything is successful, February, March, we'll be back for second reading for both, but there is a transmittal to the state after the December 12th meeting. This is the location, the project areas identified in purple here, the location of the project within the city of Newberry. The red line is the urban service area boundary as proposed. That will be heard for second reading on December 11th. The level of development that's included in the NC Ranch plan development is a total of 4,500 dwelling units, which comes out to about 3.5 dwelling units an acre over the 1,293 acres, approximately 2 square miles that the project will encumber. 3,875 of that are single-family residential units. 125 of those are attached units, and there are 500 multifamily units. The non-residential component of the project is approximately 700,000 square feet of non-residential use and an assisted living facility with 250 beds. That 700,000 square feet includes self-storage, about half of it, small medical office, and 370,000 square feet of shopping center. And there were some changes to my presentation before I got here, so rolling with it here. Future land use map amendment is going from ag to PD, as you know, and it's located within the urban service area. The overall density proposed is the equivalent of our lowest residential land use, which is 4 dwelling units an acre it caps at, and this one's at 3.5 dwelling units an acre. This project will create a suburban and urban form within the urban service area, which is desirable per the comp plan and the urban service area policies included therein. This will extend utilities to the area as well, which is the goal of the urban service area, is to extend those utilities to the lands within it. And it also provides opportunities for additional housing and commerce within the city of Newberry. So again, tonight we're only talking about the text amendment, but I wanted to give you that just buffer on what the project consists of. Current uses of the property are pasture, silviculture, and field crop, and the maximum potential that development that you could have with it today is about 259 5-acre lots. So each of those supporting one house and potentially a barn and some other structures. This is an aerial image that shows the current conditions of the property. That should jive with that last slide. And now for the overview of the text amendment. There are some changes to policies, and there's the creation of the specific location sub-element. The changes to the policies is just expanding that planning horizon. As I described earlier, instead of it being limited to 10 years, it's going to be generally specific to each project. And so that'll be enumerated in the specific sub-element for the ranch. The phasing plan that they provided us is 50 years, and so in the specific location sub-element, we're declaring that planning horizon to be 50 years in that specific location sub-element for this ranch project.
John Paul?
Yes, so go
Does
ahead.
that mean that in any future PD application, the board has the opportunity to declare a time period specific to that application? Is that what you're saying? Like right now, our comp plan limits the horizon to 10, and we need to think longer than that?
Correct.
That's the 20,000-foot version here. Right now, 10 years, we're looking at 50, 100-year planning cycles. Our comp plan needs to give us that ability.
Correct. The comprehensive plan is a long-range plan, and we are just pushing that plan forward to account for a longer time period, as it should. So it should not be just a 10-year plan, but somewhere generally in the range of 25 to 50 years. This reestablishes a specific location sub-element. I believe the deletion of the specific location sub-element was not seen by the Planning and Zoning Board. That went straight to Commission. I could be wrong on that. It should have come to the Planning and Zoning Board, but that was deleted last year. That was a holdover from Department of Community Affairs days, Florida Department of Community Affairs, so they required you to adopt that element with each new project. In this case, we're doing something similar to that. Anything that needed to go to the state was typically a large-scale development, and similarly, we're memorializing some of the conditions and ceilings, guardrails, generally in the text amendment, so there are some protections for the city as far as moving forward with future phases. We have certain conditions enumerated there that will apply. And now we're just going to go straight into the actual amendments to the comprehensive plan. The first one being to objective I-6-1. We're deleting the 10-year and just adding some general language saying planning horizon established by the comprehensive plan. So large-scale projects that come in that either staff, the applicant, or the commission believe need to be memorialized in a specific location sub-element, will be able to provide a specific horizon for each project as it comes to the board, appropriate to the scale of that project. Go
So,
ahead.
John Paul, the way I'm reading this text amendment, at the P&Z meeting where we discussed the ranch, a lot of that conversation was, okay, well, how do we make sure it takes the whole 50 years? This language strengthens the city's role in that partnership. Would that be fair?
I would say you're
Inside the negotiations of the PD, that's what this basically does.
I would say you're generally correct, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Which I guess I should explain. You may have said it, I missed it, but my understanding is that the applicant is actually doing the city a favor here because our consultant is the one who brought this to us and said, we need to strengthen this language. And for us to be our own applicant to change the PD would have taken us a much longer time than if the applicant let us piggyback this language on their application. Is that fair to say?
100% correct on that one,
Okay,
yes.
so
Yeah.
just appreciate the applicant being a good partner, allowing the city to have stronger language to hold them accountable for all of that. So
Absolutely.
make sure we're articulating that gratitude.
Thank you. And so policy I-623, this is related to specific PDs that are established through an amendment to the comprehensive plan that also establishes supplemental urban form standards and infrastructure policies to address the additional intensity. This is more specific to planned developments generally because it allows you to do a mixture of residential and non-residential uses. And this just gives staff additional and the commission additional ability to put in controls and stops. And the last policy amended here that's not included in the specific location sub-element, again, is just speaking to extending the planning horizon. Now, getting into the specific location, everything about in these, this objective and policies will be about the ranch and nothing really else. And this objective just establishes that the future land use map amendment file number 2306 is referenced in the plan development, gives the maximum densities and intensities that we discussed. It also gives a little caveat to the table. I don't know if this was discussed in detail in the rezoning, but the applicant is looking to utilize a flexible matrix of uses within the PD that there are guardrails for, but it allows them, say the market conditions say 30,000 square feet of medical office are not needed, but we do need a fast food restaurant with a drive-through. And so based on an exchange of trips generated, they can switch out the medical office for fast food use. And they can do this within the confines of an administrative approval generally. We'll get into the details of that during the rezoning, though. And some specific policies related to the specific location sub-element. The vision for the development just provides a general narrative for the intent and purpose of the development. Policy 1.3, community framework, describes the uses and the form of the development, and also, again, reiterates the intent and purpose of the development. Planning horizon states the 50-year planning horizon for the development. Urban form standards establishes standards for allocation of development types, meaning it's describing where things will be located within the plan development without having a plan attached to it. It's asking for more of the intensity and density to be located towards the State Road 45, US 27 corridor. And the lots for the residential as they graduate westward will become greater in size and area. It allows for, it enables a variety of parcel sizes within the plan development. It also states that parking should be conveniently located proximate to the uses that they are supporting. Shall be based on established standards. Site layout shall provide safe and stress-free space for pedestrian and cyclists. Residences shall have open space or recreation uses within a quarter mile of each residence, and requires larger lots, as we stated, to be located towards the periphery on the west. Policy 1.6, entitled Street Network Design Standards, limits dead ends, cul-de-sacs, requires traffic calming, more urban form to the street networks, and on-street parking to further benefit that traffic calming nature.
I just want to remind the board, we're not in quasi, so if you have questions, just holler them out right now before you get too far away and you forget. Go ahead, jump off.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Policy 1.7, entitled Stormwater, just requires adequate stormwater management facilities be provided so as to not degrade the water quality of the underlying water basin. Policy 1.8, community facilities. This one's a pretty lengthy one. So is 1.5. Let me go back to 1.5 and then we'll hop up back to 1.8. Both of them contain a lot of great information that I think the board will take some confidence in. So subsection 1 of policy 1.5 is to encourage compact placement of that development. Another one is interconnectivity and flexibility of the land use that we talked about. Parking facilities, as we discussed, conveniently located relative to the uses that they're serving. I think I covered it all. Clear buffering and separation of the development within the urban service area is one I did not call out. Now, policy 1.8.
Hey, JP.
Sir.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
So we were talking about roadways real quick.
Yeah.
Are these roadways going to be deeded over to the city at some point? Are they going to be with our standards? Or are they?
It is my understanding that they will all be public right away.
Okay, so they're going to be to the standards of what we're going to require?
Absolutely, yeah, they're required to be. Yeah. There is some language about using more compact. compact urban road networks, but we have a minimum 60-foot for local streets. But we have a street classification system based on... Did you have another question?
No, I was reading, this comes in later, but it's just the street calming and all that. When you have such a large neighborhood with such intricate roadways. I just don't want to see a beautiful design of what this is turning out to be, to then all of a sudden, no offense to the subdivision that's north of Canterbury, that the result of traffic calming was to assign street parking, which I think would make North Fleet Ranch look not as appealing.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, is it going to be deeded to the city? And if that's the case, how are we regulating the traffic calming? Are we doing more curves? Are we adding roundabouts, four-way stops?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, sorry, I didn't mean to go off in another.
No, that's perfect, and that's very appropriate to where we are in the presentation. So
Sorry, not roundabouts. People hate roundabouts for some reason.
I think roundabouts are very efficient. So speaking to traffic calming, we have since, I want to say, Phase 7 of Newberry at Country Way started requiring some form of traffic calming. The Phase 7 of Country Way Town Center is that long strip of tiny homes that will be going in the back. I'd say tiny homes. They're just small homes. They're not. I wouldn't call them tiny homes, but they're small homes on a long strip. And that long strip is something that we've noticed with even if there are stop signs, becomes a drag strip.
Right.
And encourages, and it's just the nature of design. So a lot of times behavior is dictated by design. In this particular case, working with Trip Northfleet, with the Northfleet Green Construction Group, they put in a chicane and traffic circles at the intersections. That way people do have to stop and navigate at the intersection around the traffic circle, and at the one stretch of road that it escapes my mind, but it was over 500 feet, and that's kind of the precedent that we've established in our development orders, is if it's over 500 feet, you have to include some form of traffic calming in there. They put on-street parking, which does help slow down cars, and a chicane, which will make a car have to maneuver and slow down to make that maneuver. So chicane is just a...
What was that word? Chicane?
Chicane, yeah. C-H-I-C-A-N-E.
I know. I've heard that one before. Say it again. Now, what is a chicane?
Chicane is a jog in the road.
A jog in a chicane.
Yeah.
Spell that for me.
Chicane?
Yeah.
C-H-I-C-A-N-E.
See, I'm gonna use that on my students tomorrow.
Yeah.
Did you see the chicane?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you.
I just have to ask, but it's not often I
Now, for the traffic calming, it'll be more specific in the rezoning package. It's not going to be clearly detailed in the land use and text amendment, so I just want to give you that expectation. You're not going to see what those details look like, but generally it's the use of multiple improvement features within the right-of-way to help slow down traffic, to create awareness to the road and other people using it as well. So we're on it. All right, and moving on to policy 1.8, community facilities. And this is a great policy that kind of establishes how we're going to continue to meet our level of service that we establish in the comprehensive plan. And level of service just refers to the services we have planned for the citizens of the city of Newberry, and meeting those is what we call concurrency, making sure that the infrastructure and public facilities keep up with the development that's occurring, the new households, the new businesses opening. The development is required to be serviced by the City of Newberry water and wastewater facilities. So we are declaring that we're the sole provider of those, including reuse water if it's available to the site. a traffic study as part of the city's subdivision or site plan process. So each phase has a plat that comes with it. That's the subdivision. And if it's warranted, we'll ask for a traffic study at the beginning of each phase. Say we don't ask for it, the board feels like they aren't comfortable making a decision, they could say, hey, come back with a traffic study. Just establishing that criteria there.
And John Paul,
Yes.
with this text amendment, when it comes to things like traffic studies, because one of the problems with a 50-year plan is how do you do a traffic study for something 30 years down the line, right? You don't know how many will be built in that time period. You have to pick a year. So with this text amendment, the city will have more ability to say, okay, we're hitting a critical point of mass, right? We need this study done at this point. Is that, again, 20,000-foot level?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nailed it, yeah. So that's traffic schools. We're encouraging the applicant to work with the Alachua County School Board on establishing concurrency, mitigation if needed, a capacity enhancement agreement if needed. At the end of the day, we need a clean bill of health from the Alachua County School Board saying that they have the facilities to provide for the additional students that will be generated by these homes. And effectively, that's their purview. And so we're just establishing we need some sort of guarantee that capacity will be there.
When it comes to the schools, JP, I'm on. When it comes to the schools, JP, I appreciate that the applicant is going to be working with the Alachua County School Board, but I would ask, is there a possibility, maybe conversations could be had with, don't shoot me, but charter schools as well to give other options, just because knowing, I'll just say it, just knowing the relationship right now that's happening with the school board and Newberry for some reason having a vendetta against us, if that animosity continues and we desperately need a school, is there another route that this, I'm not trying to impose that they absolutely need to have a charter school, but is there other options that the applicant is willing to seek to help alleviate the issues that we're having in Newberry? Like whether it's a private school, whether it's a charter school, just some other option in the Newberry area other than a public school.
Yeah, so I don't do facility planning for schools, Mr. Mayor.
Well, I think that the question that the board member is asking is a good question, is thinking outside of the box. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure about requiring an applicant to engage in, charter schools are private industry, right? So I understand where you're coming from, but I think the only thing that we can do is ask the applicant to communicate with the official school board, right? If and then maybe communicate back that we're not having a whole lot of luck, and then we could have, then it would be on the community, be on private businesses wants to go out.
Yeah.
But I think including something like that in a motion or in the language kind of implies that that it's their responsibility to make sure. And I think at this point, we got to continue to harp on it. At the end of the day, it's the school board's responsibility to teach our kids.
Yeah.
It's their responsibility to have. So again, I 100% support the board member's comments. I think that's good. I wouldn't want to include it in the application because I think that the implication there is probably.
It was more of would he consider.
Yeah.
I could totally see a Northfleet Academy. Yeah, being
I
there.
mean,
I don't want to speak for Trip, but
With a magnet for roofing and construction and all those kind of things.
there we go. There
Don't
we
put
go.
any ideas in their brain now.
Northfleet School Construction.
There are also considerations in policy 1.8 for first responder services, police, fire, EMS, to negotiate with the city or to discuss with the city possible locations of those community facilities. So I should say public facilities. And just to recite staff's findings, for the record, the property is located within the city's urban service area. The proposed amendment meets the requirement established in the comprehensive plan for timing of development within the urban service area because includes the requirement for a binding development agreement. Do you have a question?
Are we still on subsection 5?
Oh, no, we moved from 1.5 to 1.8.
On the police, The police, I'm sorry, 1.8.
Oh, go ahead.
1.8, I'm on subsection 5 of 1.8, sorry. I didn't mean to say, where we went from schools to police, fire, EMSs, and schools.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, so is that that's definitely on the table, correct?
That's specific policy is talking about the location of facilities if they're needed.
If they're needed, it would definitely be something that would be available. Is that correct?
Yes, we've initiated those conversations. They seem amenable to donating a site. That's as far as we've gone with that discussion.
Okay. And it's not just, my main concern would be if all four things well, fire and EMS usually go hand in hand, but if police, fire, EMS, and school is like, hey, Alachua County gave us a dream, they told us we could build a school, we want fire and EMS, and we want police, is all three an option, or is it just one of the three would be an option on this? I just want clarity on what we're asking here.
For the fire, we need to do an assessment of ISO rating. ISO rating is predominantly dictated by response time. And if a study is conducted that says response time will be negatively impacted in the way it affects ISO rating, there would be a conversation as how we're going to cure this. This is what we're working through right now with the applicant as far as the rezoning, and the development order is establishing those mitigation measures. Now we need data to make the ask, and that's where we're at right now, is establishing.
Well, my peace of mind is just to know that if we hit the trifecta, that we need police, fire, ISO rating says yes, we require police as well, and the schools give us the green light.
Yeah.
That this property would be able to handle all three in the facility, and it's not just, well, you're going to have to choose one. You can either choose the school, you can either choose the fire department, or you can choose the police department.
Yes, just for the record, we don't have a police department today, but it's, I understand it's a
substation or something to that extent.
So fire, the ultimate goal of fire EMS is to have those response times down. That could be a site within the development, that could be a site outside of the development. Those details are still to come, we don't know, but the potential, the way it's been described by other staff is that these would probably, the station, if one is constructed or needed for this, would be probably best serve the community if it's located within it, both service-wise and aesthetically as well. It'll be a part of the neighborhood opposed to it being a standalone fire station on the side of US 27 somewhere, you know. That way it's integrated into the community and a part of, you know, the public facilities within it. Now, this also kind of, I think, would be reassuring for residents living there, knowing that they have a EMS
interested
close
to see
by.
how Northfleet designs a fire department, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's done one yet, so.
No, I challenge accepted trip, I think.
John Paul, I just want to, are we still on the text amendment?
Text amendment.
We're on the text amendment.
Yes.
Because a lot of this stuff seems like a recap of what we talked about when the ranch was originally presented. These are all the changes or additions or ways that this text amendment strengthens
These
the
are
cities. I'm just trying to make sure we're not convoluting the two issues, and that may just be in my mind, but I want to make sure we're sticking solely to the issues that have to do with this text amendment and how the text amendment, and again, in my mind, the text amendment changes the city's comp plan to the city's benefit. It does have things that it changes for the ranch, so you're just going over what it changes for the ranch.
correct.
Okay, all right, just making sure I'm on.
And I just wanted clarity.
Yeah, I just want to make sure for my own clarity that we weren't.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah. Planned development is a permitted land use within the urban service area, and the proposed density is compatible with the residential low-density land use. Again, both FAR for the non-residential and the density for the residential are both at the lowest thresholds that we permit in our comprehensive plan, so this is not pushing us to a land use type that we haven't seen yet as far as densities and intensities. The applicant has proposed a specific location text amendment to provide further guidance and assurances regarding the permitted uses, density, intensity, design, standards, infrastructure capacity, and implementation. Did you have a question, Mr. Mayor? Okay, sorry. The proposed specific location text amendments include specific policy standards requirements that ensure the development of the ranch is compatible under the city's adopted comprehensive plan, CPA 23-06, just being the file number for the ranch future land use map amendment. The proposed specific location text amendments include specific policy standards and requirements that ensure that there is sufficient public facility capacity available to serve the development within the ranch at the time impacts of the development occur. We do find the request consistent with the comp plan and land development regulations as they're written. We are recommending that the Planning and Zoning Board forward a recommendation of approval to the City Commission. Based on the results of tonight's vote, we plan on bringing the petition to first reading before the Commission on December 12th.
Thank you, John Paul. Questions about this? Okay. Did the applicant want to come up and make any comments? You got anything you want to say? No?
You don't want to talk about the fire department?
Well, they used to say, be brief, be funny, and be seated. Okay, so I'm going to do all that. Yeah. Okay, so basically John Paul gave a very comprehensive presentation. I can summarize what we're doing in 5 easy steps here. This is really like adding an abridged version of stereo or homeowners instructions to this. Number 1, it lengthens the planning horizon to match the length of the project. Number 2, it ensures that it's a mixed-use project and it will have urban form standards, so it will be designed beautifully and function well for bicyclists, pedestrians, golf carts, and everything. Number 3, it ensures that community facilities will be there: water, sewer, electric, obviously, and roadways, and a mechanism whereby every 2 years we will be reporting back to you all what's going on so that we can keep constantly truing up the need for water, sewer, roadways, and so forth. Number 4, it sets forth policies for water conservation standards using best management practices, which is a good idea for any community. And number 5, it makes sure that there's a way that all this will be funded, whether through the developer, through CDD, or other coordination mechanisms. And that's all it does, really. It's just making sure that everything you approved unanimously last time happens for the horizon, the mixed-use form, community facilities, water quality, and then a way to pay for it. That's it.
Well, again, I want to say thank you for the applicant agreeing, because, oftentimes when the city consultant comes and says, hey, you got to strengthen this, the applicant says, hang on a second now, I've already been to the PNC, right? You already agreed. So it's good to see that everybody's on the same page. This is good for the city. It's good for the applicant. So we appreciate the cooperation about making sure that both parties can hold each other accountable. Anybody got questions for CHW? Jerry? No? All right. Thank you, sir. You hit all marks, brief, and gone. Right? If there are no questions, then I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-36/CPA from Jordan, second from Naeem. Okay, comments from the comments from the board on the motion on the floor. Hearing none. Public comments on the motion on the floor. Come on down, sir.
Paul Hornby, Mr. Mayor, thank you, board members. I know this is really early in the whole process here, trying to get to these movies a little earlier than I have in the past. Really, my comments are not, they are related to this development, but there are also some overarching concerns that I've had. Some of them I've mentioned before, some of them I mentioned during the CHW-hosted public meetings that we'd have. But one thing that really concerns me is the The number, the amount of square footage tied to these development, not just this development, but other developments that we've seen. And these are just figures coming off of your documents: 240,000 square feet, 140,000, 700,000, 240,000, 390,000, 200,000, 180,000, 210,000. So 2.3 million square feet of commercial, and then there's one that just says 45 acres. So that's a lot more square footage. This may not come to fruition. It's just a concern that I have. We talked the other week about concerns with the downtown, revitalizing it. My concern is we're going to start to have these stovepipe communities where, they have their amenities. And I'm not saying everything has to be downtown. I get there's convenience issues for some of these communities. But as this stuff adds up, as we move forward, I think it's just going to complicate everybody's goals and objectives to really enhance the downtown. I mean, why would people come here if there's other locations to go and eat or get your hair cut or whatever it might be?
Paul, can you help me do my job and make sure that you loosely tie these comments into the motion on the floor, which is about the text amendment? So anything, just give me some lifeline there so that I know we're on the topic.
Okay, I mean, I get 3 minutes to address you guys every couple weeks, so sorry if I wasn't on point.
No, you're fine, and I want you to keep going. You have public comment at the end of the night, but parliamentary rules of procedure, I'm supposed to say public comment on the motion on the floor.
Okay,
And you've got more comprehensive comments.
This is moving forward, so.
Okay, thank you, sir. Other public comments? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That takes us to topic for member discussion. Jordan, you got anything for the board?
I do not.
Nothing about a baby box and family coming and big.
I'm glad that we were able to finally get the baby box up and working like we discussed the other day. The ceremony was great. I'm glad everybody was able to go that was able to. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I hope nobody uses it and it never gets used. But I'm also glad that, Newberry is going to be the second one now in the state that has one. And I hope we kind of get this ball rolling and there's more in the state. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad to be a part of it. And stuff like that is how it ties back to what we talked about last meeting about this small town community, everybody pitching in and trying to drive that camaraderie and everything else. So I'm just glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad it's in our community.
Well, we were glad you're part of it too. So, Miss Kathy, you got anything?
Christmas parade,
Christmas parade.
December 16th, and Newberry.
What time?
Parade starts at 5:30, and we will go west through town on 26, turn by Joel's and come right back towards the fire station area. Directly after the parade, there is the Countryway Town Square Christmas Festival. Santa will be there, I'm sure, and vendors, and lots of things, music, and the Irish folk dancers are going to be there this year again.
Lineup starts at 4:30, Walker's Produce.
Yeah, 4:35.
We head south, turn west on Newberry Road, down. And if everybody could try to come in and get pointed to the south, that helps, so we don't have to do any three-point turns on the...
Sitting is anywhere from the produce stand all the way to Joel's. On
Yeah,
either
all
side
the
of
way.
highway.
Anywhere you want, right?
Yep.
That'd be awesome. And then get down there to the town center, because that's another hallmark
Yes.
hometown moment.
That's a really fun time too.
Yeah.
Kids love it.
And while we're talking about Christmas, don't forget the gingerbread contest is next. It's the same day as the parade. So you're waiting for the parade to go in and look at all the contestants. And then next weekend is a movie in the park and help me out here, golf cart decorating
Yes.
contest. So something every weekend in the city of Newberry, as we are making our community the Christmas capital of Alachua County, which is, by the way,
Yes.
the name of our new website where you can find out all things Christmas, christmascapitalofalachuacounty.com. And I cut you off there, Miss Kathy. Got anything else?
The theme of the parade is, it's
the gingerbread house, Whoville. Because we're piggybacking on the city's gingerbread theme, so this year it's going to be Whoville gingerbread houses. decorative floats.
All right. Whoville.
That's it.
I love it. Donald, you got anything? No? Naeem, lay it on us.
I just want to give, yeah, for real. I'm looking forward to this fire department. No. I just want to give a shout out to one of the newest businesses that have come into Newberry, Blood, Sweat, and Tears tattoo shop right in the heart of downtown. They've made a real staple inside the art gallery that we have. The art gallery, by the way, is phenomenal. I believe it's Dirty Bird, right? Dirty Bird. They're inside that shop towards the back of it. And if you haven't been into a shop in downtown, you would be amazed how much space is in there. And this tattoo shop is just phenomenal. I've already gotten some work from one of the artists, Ash, there.
Thank you for a tattoo you got.
Huh?
You got some work? I didn't know you.
Yeah, believe it or not, I do. I have a little bit of tattoos, but I am proud to say that we do have a great local artist here that is doing phenomenal work, and I believe that her work and the guys' work in there is going to really bring some more talent to downtown.
Well, first I want to say thank you to staff and Main Street and the Chamber. The tree lighting ceremony was amazing. I know the weather report said it was going to rain. We didn't get one drop on us. There were a couple of football games that were happening, so we thought that would perhaps dampen our participation, but by 6:55, City Hall lawn was packed once again. The whole town came out. Main Street Sweets and Eats was packed. 1906 was doing well. There were people in and out of Sycamore Lane all day long. The market was beautiful. Lots of compliments from residents appreciating the city and all of those entities for coming together to host that. And once again, when we talk about, just like George said tonight, when we talk about small town and staying together, it's those kind of events, those kind of opportunities where we get together, our kids play together, we see each other, and we just celebrate the holidays with each other. So kudos for last weekend's events. I'm going to go ahead and do pre-praise for the next 2 weekends. We're all looking forward to the Christmas on the Square event. That 5th annual? 6th? 7th. Time. I'm so old. How did that happen? Go ahead, Ms. Caddy.
Let me add one more thing, because I meant to say this when we met next time. There's so many businesses in this community that give just unbelievably a large amount of time and money to our schools, to our different projects. And Norfleet is one of the, and there's a few others that I could name as well, but I don't want to get in trouble for leaving anyone out because Norfleet is here. They give a lot back to this community. And the Christmas on the Square is a free event for vendors. They don't charge anybody 1 cent to be there. So a lot of our schools, school clubs can be there and make whatever money they make, and they're not out any money. So I challenge anyone to find an event that's not charging vendors to be at their event. It's just amazing that they do that.
Oh, Norfleet charges me $50 just to walk in.
That's because you have you're special.
Because the tattoos.
You've got the tattoos.
My only other comment, I see that once again, we did not have anyone directing traffic at 15th and 27th, and I've talked to ASO, and we do have an agreement that someone will direct that traffic. The issue right now is that it's been a service tech, and I think it should be stated that ASO is doing a favor for a partner by directing traffic. There's nothing in our contract that says service techs have to direct traffic for congestion. They're there to make sure the kids get across safely. We all understand that that's a relatively easy favor, and we appreciate that partnership. But the service tech has reported difficulty getting residents to follow her commands, and she has reported almost being hit 4 times. I can understand where she's coming from, because I had a mom try to run me over at the
Watermelon Festival?
not what Watermelon says. Homecoming parade. She was very much wanting me out of the way, and she tried to bump me with her car to expedite the moment, right? So I would ask residents, I understand the frustration, but right now, ASO is trying to figure out how can they be a good partner and help us direct that traffic. And one thing that we can do is be a good partner and listen to the service tech. So she's going to let folks out, but when she says stop and you have to stop, just go ahead and stop and wait another 2 or 3 minutes. She's going to let you back out. Because right now is how do we keep her safe? So I've seen all the pictures of 3, 4 cops sitting there, but right now they're just trying to make sure that the residents are, and the traffic is following the instructions of the service tech. So if we can get that issue addressed, we could be getting out of Country Way a whole lot quicker and dropping our kids off a whole lot quicker. So I just wanted to give that update. Good conversation where nobody's pointing fingers, but we got to make sure that everybody goes home at night and everybody's following the rules. So we do want to make sure we get that traffic flow back. But as in all things, if everybody follows the rules, we could do a whole lot more. So that's all my comments. Public comments, I'm sorry. Paul left, but now would be a good time. He'd have 5 minutes. He could tell us all about everything because he's got great comments to make. Any public comments? Come on down, sir. Did you want to take a stand on Naeem's tattoos? Okay.
No, I just wanted to thank you guys for taking the time to hear us and thank the staff for working through this because I know they've had a lot of work on it and just appreciate y'all hearing it the 2 times we brought it up and just want to thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you again for letting us piggyback on your applications. Other public comment? Hearing none, we are adjourned.